Hello, I'm ABX3K and welcome back to the video. Today I want to talk about some of the new combat changes that will be coming into the next Minecraft update as of 1.14. If you don't know, Jebs has confirmed that at Minecon he is revealing some of these big changes to the game, and that in the next update there is going to be some combat changes because, yeah, basically combat in Minecraft is something a lot of people are just really unhappy with right now, and Jebs is finally going to go back and address it, and he said that a lot of the changes are low-hanging fruit, and that's not really the most transparent thing to say, so that's why I figured I'd make this video to talk about the most likely options for future combat features. So hopefully you all enjoy this video. Like if you do like it, because it helps out the channel a lot, and let's know you do like these sorts of videos. Again, this is really focused on combat, but combat is a really big deal in Minecraft because even if you're only playing solo, you do it all the time, and a lot of people don't even like the solo combat. So yeah, what is wrong with the combat right now? On the PC only, bear in mind, it is the fact that there is dual wielding, and the fact that the dual wielding comes with the hit delay, which means that, for the sake of this video, we'll use zombies for people. That means that when you hit people, it's going to do, like when you hit them, you have to cool down, otherwise it won't do your full thing. Whereas on the console and the PE, despite a year and a half of, having that update on the PC, have not decided to take this feature on. So because of that, that leads me into the Jeb post himself. We're going to read his exact responses and then read the post he was responding to, because if you read what he said here, he basically said there'll be some new features that affect combat, and watch the announcement to find out about them, because again, Minecon's tomorrow, and that's a big thing coming out. But basically, he says that you'll see them next week, and basically, after that, he then says that these changes are low-hanging fruit that make a lot of sense. So low-hanging fruit, that means something that's fairly easy to pick up and fairly easy to do, and given it's the post he responded to, it seems like they're going to be fairly non-controversial changes, because if you read this other post here, he says, "Thank you for the post. I've always requested more specific feedback than bring back 1.7 because it's much more helpful." He really liked this post, and that's a post that you probably haven't seen because you probably haven't read the exact Reddit thread, so I figured I'd go in there and pick out the exact feedback and the exact suggestions that he did put, and here are the three big ones. He said bow spam is way too strong, shields don't prevent it, and basically the bow with bow with a punch tool on it is just the best weapon in the game because it's super strong and it's got even more durability than a shield does, so you can't even block it with a shield. Then he says that no weapon has strengths or weaknesses, and they're not even close to balance. The bow is the best with punch 2, and then the sword with knockback 2, like I've got here by the way, is actually the best, second best weapon, and basically knockback is really, really powerful because of that hit delay. And then finally he says it's slower in general because the shields and the aiming mechanics. Fights take way longer, and they're way less exciting because you're not looking for an opportunity to get a hit in, you're looking for the best opportunity to find an opening that lets you do full damage. So basically, instead of trying to get any hit at all, you're trying to get that hit at full damage, which changes and slows down combat. So they're the three big suggestions. The fact that weapons lost their strengths and weaknesses because of the hit delay, the fact that the bow spam is too powerful, bows are just too powerful, and also the fact that it's too slow in general because you can't hit as much as you like, you have to charge up your thing, and that causes issues for some people. So those are the big three changes that he suggested, and if I had to guess, I'd say Jeb will probably take a decent look at least a couple of them. For instance, bow spam in Minecraft, it's something that never really made too much sense. Like if you're really good at bow spam, you can do something like this, and you can fire really fast if you get into the rhythm of it, just like this. Some people can do it even faster, but the fact that you can fire this fast in Minecraft, it doesn't really make too much sense, and it's a little bit OP, especially with a punch 2 bow. That's something we could be seeing change. But the second thing, the fact that knockback and punch are too powerful, I think what we could see, because he nerfed sharpness so hard but didn't nerf knockback, maybe we could see a buff to the sharpness again, or we could see a buff to one of the other enchantments, or we could just see a whole new suite of enchantments. Again, bear in mind, one of the new possible mobs in this new update is an enchantment based mob, which could bring you enchantments. One of those could be a competitor to just having knockback and punch, so again, that could be a way to balance that one. And then also the slower in general because of the hit delay. So that means the obvious change that Jeb could look at from that and just implement into the game, and one of the big things he could do to really get people excited about Minecraft is just to remove the hit delay altogether. Again, personally, I think the hit delay is not too big of a deal, but a lot of PvP users on the PC side of things, they hate it beyond belief, because when you hit something, again, okay, we'll use a zombie as a bad example, you hit something, you have to wait and then hit it again, and you have to do it in certain timings, which again, isn't how people like to play the game before. Click spamming is the easiest way to describe it, but that's not entirely accurate, but still, basically, it removes an element of skill, or adds some element of skill, depending on how you want to say it, and a lot of players didn't like that it did that. They liked the combat how it was before, and they wanted the fact that, they don't want it to be slowed down, they want it to be sped up, which is something that you can do if you remove the hit delay. So that's the easiest way Jeb could appease people, but let's be realistic. He hasn't spent this long, thinking about it and not removing it, just to say, 2 years later, we're finally removing it. So instead, what he could do is he could change the system entirely. So right now, so the cooldown on the PC, it works so that when you hit something, and then you cool down, you do no damage until you recharge that shot, which is terrible, or you do punch damage, which is terrible. And instead, what Jeb could do is he could change the system so that instead of being you do no damage unless you're charged, instead he could just make it kind of like a critical system in a way, so that you can spam as much as you like. Like, you can hit like this all the time on the PC, but if you want to charge up the shot and do more damage, then you can do like a sweeping attack, like you currently do. Then you can do maybe a bit more damage, like an extra heart or something like that, and that could be an extra way to make the game a bit more skilled, while still allowing people who want to play PvP in the existing way to do their existing thing. Again, that would speed up the game while still allowing the skill, while still not upsetting people who want to, again, click spams, it's kind of like a strawman thing, but, like trying to click spam. So there you go. That is the easiest way things could be done, and that's the thing I think is most likely to see some form of changing of the penalty, because one of the big facts about gaming, this is one of my favorite facts, is that World of Warcraft at one point had a penalty if you tried to play the game for too long, like I think it was over 8 hours, without going to sleep, and people hated that mechanic beyond belief because it like took away 50% of your experience. So instead what they did is they changed the default experience values, and they gave you double experience if you went to sleep every 8 hours, and people loved it that way, like, wow, now I'm incentivized to leave and come back. And basically we could do the same thing in Minecraft. Rather than disincentivizing people from not hitting, you could just incentivize people for doing it, and that feels way better. That's what games are about, and that's what Jeb could be doing. Again, it makes sense to me, but maybe that's the thing. So the second, kind of obvious change that could be made to make the combat kind of different while still not affecting it too much would be a change to critical hits. So no one really likes the critical hit system because it's just based on being in the air and falling downwards. You can't hit on the way up, you have to hit on the way down, and then you do an extra up to 50% damage. Instead, we could have critical hits be based on either hitting a part of the body or hitting at a certain time, or maybe critical hits, like, like I just said before, they could be based on that timing. Maybe you get a critical hit if you charge up your shot 50% of the way through, instead of like having to jump instead, because the jumping thing doesn't make much sense. It kind of just comes down to luck to some extent, whereas a critical hit system based on that recharge could combine both those things together. And again, I feel like a critical hit change is just well overdue. The current critical system doesn't even make sense, and it's just been there for so long and not changed. Really low-hanging fruit. People wouldn't be upset because most people wouldn't care, especially if you kept the old critical hits as well. And then finally, the last change that like some people get upset about is to do with the axe. So the axe is an obvious one to change. You could just make it so, so the sword doesn't have cooldown anymore, but the axe still does. So the axe still does more damage, and if you want a cooldown weapon, you've got it in the axe, but the sword doesn't have it. And again, I feel like the axe is one of the obvious ways to do that. So so basically what I'm saying is in this next update, we can expect something about bow spam. Again, whether it's just a change to the bow, a new enchantment for the bow, something to encourage something besides punch 2, because that's the specific feedback that Jeb said he really liked and really responded to. We might be also seeing a change to knockback as well. We can expect something about the hit delay to make it more palatable in some way. Again, my suggestion was probably it's probably on the higher end of what could be done. It could be something simple like, oh yeah, you can, the hit penalty is now lower, or like, we'll call it something else. Again, we're going to expect something to do with hit delay, because that's the big way to get people on your side about the new combat. The fourth thing we might expect is something to do with critical hits changing. Again, maybe tie those two things together. And we can also expect axes to change in some way, because some people really don't like the axe game, where it's like hit with your axe, then go back to your shield. And finally, the big thing to expect, the thing people have been asking for forever when it does come to other platforms, because when it comes to PC, those are the changes, but when it comes to Xbox and PE, because this new combat is coming to both Xbox and PE in, let's just assume 1.4 and, TU like 65 or something, but when it does come to both these platforms, we can expect that we'll also have shields in it. That's right, shields will come to Minecraft if you're on the Xbox or PE, and on the PC you're just like, what? Shields aren't there yet? But shields haven't come to these versions yet, and as soon as that does happen, we can expect it there, and therefore maybe also dual wielding. Because bear in mind, again, most players will be happy with dual wielding if they fix the combat that goes along with it. So what they're going to do is they're going to bring this dual wielding, maybe even show it off at Minecon, and show that it also has the shields, get people aboard of shields, get people aboard the idea that you can have like a torch, or you can have like one of my favorite combinations is like a bow and a sword. Again, I can't do it here because there's a dual wield slot on the Xbox and the PE, but it doesn't actually allow you to... Anyway, but you can put maps in there, that's about it. I know most of you are aware of this, but not everyone. And basically, yeah, because of that, we could expect them to say like, yeah, shields, yeah, dual wielding, also... tiny bit of a combat change, and that'd probably be the best way to unify the Minecraft thing and get them moving, get a lot of servers moving past Minecraft 1.8, because Minecraft has a big problem where they're releasing content, but a lot of people aren't downloading that content, and the easiest way to fix that, not that they necessarily care, would be to just make the combat palatable to everyone, people who like the new combat, people who like the old combat, and this is the way they could be doing so. So we might see all of this announced tomorrow at Minecon, we might see just the tip of the iceberg at Minecon, but we're going to be seeing something, and if you want to see that all live on this channel, make sure you subscribe subscribed with notifications turned on. It's going to be 4 p.m. UK time. That's 8 a.m. on the East Coast. I'm going to be streaming it. I'm going to be watching it live. And I'm also going to be doing a breakdown video afterwards, so you can see just the key stuff, because so much Minecraft news is all coming out tomorrow. That's why this whole week on the channel, like, you know, like, the entire channel week's been, like, basically based around Minecon, because there's just been news bit after news bit after news bit after important things to talk about, and I figured it would be important to go through all of that. So, like if you liked it, share if you really liked it, and I'll see you all in the next one.